Annyeonghaseyo, and good afternoon. My name is Jaydee Griffith. I'm the Managing Director of the ADIS NextG Alliance. I'm really excited to be presenting to you all here today at Mobile Korea about how we're paving the way for 6G and providing some of the insights from the North American market. I first want to begin by providing some insights into some of the foundational goals of the NextG Alliance as we address the North American needs for 6G. We're really looking forward to collaboration amongst private sector, academia, and government to position North America as a global leader for NextG technologies, working with many of our global partners. I view North American leadership as meaning two things. One is, being a leader in how we use 6G in North America, but also being a leader in how we work with the international partners and, demonstrate 6G's possibilities in North America and how that can be replicated globally. This is built on a comprehensive model on North American 6G technology developments, R&D needs, standards goals, and market readiness. And we really want to work on strategies that will lead to rapid commercialization and adoption of NextG technologies across domestic and global markets. To realize these foundational goals, we need to take a hard look at the life cycle of 6G, understanding each one of the steps along the way for 6G to be a commercial success. This is incredibly important because not all the companies in the room today at Mobile Korea, and especially in the North American market, play the same role in each one of these stages or may not even partake in some of these stages. Some firms may be focused on, research and development and IP development that may only work more so on research and standards leadership, but there may be some companies, especially like mobile network operators, who are very much focused on market readiness and realization as the core aspect of their business. But for the entire ecosystem, the entire telecom industry to be successful, it is important to understand each step and what needs to happen for this commercial realization to happen and to be successful in the market. A key aspect of the 6G lifecycle that is often ignored is understanding the market. This is incredibly important to look at even at the early stages we are now of research and development and beginning standardization, is understanding what the market wants and what the market needs in the end. Blind technological ambition will not make 6G a success. It needs to be a combination of understanding the technology and the impacts on the market. As we look at previous technology generations, lack of adoption of either a particular class of wireless technology or a particular feature in 4G or 5G was not always necessarily a purely technical issue. As we look at, especially as we try to break into more commercial customers and business-to-business sales, looking at our commercial end users, they ultimately have two goals: increase revenue and decreasing operating costs. This is important to consider and a key example of why we should look at technology in the market together, because you may have the best technology for improving crop yield through autonomous control of tractors and reducing the costs of reducing the cost of labor needed during a harvest season. However, if through additional crop yield and reduced operating expenses you save the farmer, say, $100,000 a year, but the system costs $120,000 a year to operate, you're not going to have any sales because they would lose $20,000 a year on that proposition. So you either have to rethink the business strategy or take an engineering analysis and look at the engineering value, and if there's some compromises that can be made along the way, or redesigning that could happen to make it be a more positive economic outlook for the end customer. This is incredibly important, especially as we look at other verticals that don't traditionally work with the telecom industry. I highlight here a question from the Utilities Technology Council 2024 report on private LTE utility plans for deployment that really talks about the challenges here. And I think it's important to highlight that the top three challenges deal with development of a detailed business model, creating an effective rate case strategy, and reaching the internal alignment within the utility on the value of private LTE deployment. This goes to show that even with the mature technologies of private LTE, it's still difficult for our potential customers to make the business model argument. So we need to take a more considered effort to understanding understanding their market, understanding the challenges and what they really need to deliver success. We need to help find solutions to their problems and not necessarily have our solution develop solutions looking for problems. A key piece of understanding the market is also understanding the value chain for a particular industry vertical. Again, here I have a agriculture example where we look at what the value chain may need to look like for a an autonomous harvester for agriculture. The one thing that is missing from this is the end customer, but I think it's important to look at this from an end customer perspective. To make a autonomous harvester useful, you need to have someone produce the harvester. You need to have a way to control it as the end user through this monitoring control dashboard, and of course, you need the back-end infrastructure, the wireless link, the transport network that brings it all together. The key piece here, especially as we talk about new and advanced 6G use cases, is to complete this value chain. It is not solely the telecom industry that does it. We need to bring in industry verticals, for example, in the agriculture space, companies such as Cargill or John Deere or AGCO or other agribusiness companies that really work with either are the end user or work with the end user as the primary source of supply, for example, harvesters with John Deere, to complete this value chain. We can talk a lot about advanced use cases like UAVs, autonomous vehicles, but until we have people that build the UAVs and autonomous vehicles as part of the value discussion, the market discussion, it's really telecom industry speculation on where the market may be able to go or what the capabilities are, because it won't necessarily be the telecom industry that develops the turnkey solutions to offer to either businesses or consumers. To that end, 6G will take a village. We really need to bring together every piece of the value chain together. We need to talk with our end users, our prospective clients. What are their issues? How do we work with them? How do we help solve their connectivity issues? We need to look within the telecom industry on how that will actually be delivered. Do we have the right features in the core network and the RAN? Looking in hindsight at 4G and 5G, a big issue that inhibited adoption, especially for advanced use cases, was the UE market. There was a lack of industry or vertical specific user equipment at an industry appropriate cost point, or even if there was an industry vertical or a non-traditional UE manufacturer interested into bringing in 6G, or I guess in this case be 5G or 4G, it was difficult for them to tap into the chipset system, supply chain, either get access to chipsets or the right support and documentation that is, I would say, more easily available for other radio access technologies, albeit simpler technologies such as, Wi-Fi, LoRaWAN, even some of the proprietary 900 megahertz SCADA systems, or even into low Earth orbit SatCom. Some of these industries, how they set up their sales and distribution channels, have made it easier for new entrants to enter into the market and develop industry-specific solutions. This is incredibly important as we look at new end industries, for example, oil and gas and mining, where the UE requirements are much different than what we see today with traditional handset, smartphone, tablet, even customer premise equipment for wide area networks. For example, in these industries like oil and gas and mining, a lot of the user equipment needs to be intrinsically safe or explosion proof. That is not necessarily, some manufacturers, especially some larger conglomerates, do dabble in that space, but really that's where we start getting more industry specialized equipment, and how do we engage with those as part of the value chain. This is where I think systems integrators can play an important role, and it is important for us to understand how they fit into the model and start exploring, what this model could look like. Because they're really going to be the glue that can help translate end user requirements into telecom industry capabilities and vice versa. I had a conversation with one of the NGA members who had been heavily involved in several generations of technology standard development and really have been on the bleeding edge of the telecom industry. But I had an interesting conversation. We brought up industry verticals of a survey that took place in the past. Like, well, we talked to the industry verticals; they don't understand 5G. In the industry verticals' defense, they may not understand telecom and 5G, but we also don't understand chemical engineering. So that's not necessarily a fair comparison. So this is where, from my perspective, someone needs to play the role of the systems integrator that can, take those, system design requirements, like from a, chemical plant or manufacturing facility that understands manufacturing, understands process control, and then can bring that to the telecom industry to understand, okay, this is how it translates into latency, jitter, bandwidth requirements. I think another common misconception is that there's going to be gigabytes and gigabytes of data that needs to flow. Well, not if you put computing at the edge, including at, we're talking about fixed installations like factories. You can offload a lot of compute on site before you have to go over wireless, or you can find a mix of like, okay, how much can we process at the edge versus need to send back for post-processing and analysis, instead of assuming all raw data needs to go over the wireless link. This is part of the value add and engineering process that needs to take place for us to unlock a lot of the capabilities needed to tap into some of these new markets that are, I would say, very much apt to adopt wide area wireless technologies such as 6G. Building this value chain, getting this village together is not going to be easy, but it's going to be important if we want 6G to be successful. Since I am from a North American organization presenting at a mobile conference in Korea, I would be remiss to talk about the importance of global collaboration in 6G success. The success of, our predecessor generations, 5G, 4G, 3G, and 2G, all are around the fact that we could leverage global economies of scale to, bring down costs, open up additional markets, create new revenue streams across the telecom industry. So this global collaboration is going to be very important as we move forward. However, it's going to be very important that as we look at new potential market areas, to understand that not everything is uniform. How the manufacturing market works in the United States may be different than it is in Korea, or same thing for like electrical utilities, as we have like different standards and regulatory requirements regionally. But really, as we kind of distill down requirements for each of these verticals, understanding what the common requirements are across many different industries, this is where the global collaboration is going to be key. As we look at what the high priority opportunities are in each of our, regions may be, and how can we work together on a global level to still maximize that economy of scale, so we can reap the benefits globally. As they say, a rising tide raises all ships. So we are really excited that NGA will be signing a memorandum of understanding with SatComForum, renewing our relationship with the Korean industry moving forward. We really look forward to continuing to exchange technical views on our research, technology trends that we're seeing, how we can leverage our different strengths throughout these technology areas. The impressive manufacturing prowess of Korea, and especially a lot of technology development, user equipment space, along with some of the innovative software to be developed in the United States and in Canada. How we can align early on potential future standards and technology evolution is going to be very important. So, we really, at NGA, really value our relationship with SatComForum and the Korean telecom industry, and looking forward to continue this. I want to thank you all for bearing with me today through this virtual presentation. Apologies that I could not be there in person. I really want to thank the good folks at the 6G and the organizers of Mobile Korea for the invitation to present to you all virtually. Again, I want to highlight again once more that the relationship between the North American industry and Korean industry is incredibly important. We look to continue and to foster and grow that relationship, and really appreciate everything y'all we've done so far and what we can do together going forward. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the event.